Let the countdown begin. Uh-oh. In the classroom, you thought you could relax, and instead, no, we're gonna get nerdy, even more than usual, maybe. Let me see. I hope you're all doing well, beautiful creatures. So you say, yeah. See? Technology these days. We're gonna talk about a beautiful composition by Alan Dawson, which you can see at a distance. It's at the school, the Rudimental Ritual, which today we'll go through the very beginning, like any story. I leave you. Just have a look for a moment. Scared enough? Of course, you need to put the picture big on Zoom. You can select different visualizations. Right, so we're gonna start with these beautiful roughs. You probably heard about roughs, dregs. And to make sure that we can play them correctly, we warm up a little bit with some flams, which we all deeply love. Because the rough is just a variation, a little bit harder technically than that, right? So right hand up, left hand down, and we start very, very simple. Which time signature should we do? Okay, 4/4, just for a moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, right hand flam, left hand flam, right? We invert and make sure that the heights are really good. Huh? Also nice, Merlin, you improved a lot this motion. Nice. Faster. Now we're gonna stay only on the right hand. On my count, we invert and we stay on the left, okay? 1, 2, ready, go. The ghost hand must be very, very low. One, two, ready, change, right. Now we're gonna count in 4/4, and every fourth beat we revert. 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, change. 1. One, 2, 3, 4. I see a lot of you on Zoom doing too much motion with the ghost hand. Right? You really need to keep it low, only like gravity strokes, only making it fall down. This is a full stroke, and the other one is a tap stroke. Two very different motions, right? So not to do like this. Are there stupid flam questions? No. For all of you millions of followers on YouTube that don't hear anybody asking the questions, the question is which hand should play first? Traditionally, the one that's nearer to the skin that you're playing, no? So we move at the same time, but in this case, my left, which is this, will hit before, right? And in this case, the right. But often we make the mistake too, especially if it's a right-handed flam to do the opposite, which would be an inverted flam, so why not? That's already a hybrid. Right, and we can move in flams in any sort of sticking, like anything can be flammed in life. For example, our beautiful paradiddles, right? Thinking about right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. In this case, all accentuated, we add the flams on each of the notes. So we're not gonna play the flam paradiddles, which would have only the first accent, right? With the flam, but all of the notes. Position, 1, 2, 3, 4. We go pa, ra, di, do. Pa, ra, di, do. So flam with the left, flam with the right, 2 flam with the left, and I invert, right? There's a lot of different motions at once to do this. Keep trying. So we have invert, invert, bounce, invert, basically. Careful not to do side motions when you're doing flams. I don't make names, but you know. Only up and down in front of you. The idea is that the flam should not add complexity to our minds when we execute it. So we shouldn't overthink it so much. Careful also not to hold the stick too high. I also, again, don't make names, but you know. Very good. Now, what is a rough and what is a drag? Very often they are just interchangeable terms. In the broader scheme of things, a drag would have a musical value. Say, for example, 1 E and A 2. It's 2 notes near to an accent instead of just one. A rough comes from is onomatopoeic, something like this. It represents the sound of the rudiment, and it should sound rough, right? Whereas the drag comes more actually from the motion, which we don't do, but hypothetically is 1 note divided in 2, right? At a certain velocity, when you go 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4, it gets to a point that is so near to the accent that loses the ability to recognize the value of the note, right? So a rough needs to be as near as possible to the main note, even if the BPM is super, super slow. So it's much harder because you cannot count it, right? It's a flam with an extra push. Takada. It should really feel as 1 note, not define as a drag. Takata is a proper musical value, right? So of course, after a certain BPM, they are absolutely one and the same, drags and roughs. Also historically, simply some rudiments got this name rather than another one, right? It can be, doesn't have to be. It just needs to be as near as possible to the main note. It's also very nice with the foot, as you can go near to the backbeat of the snare. 1, 2, 3. Tum. Of course, if you don't have a pedal now, you cannot do that. But that was my first access to fast double strokes with a slight technique using roughs into grooves. Punch, frzat, punch. Right? So just without counting with your mind, trying to play as near as possible. At first, if you're not super able to play this double defined and a bit louder. You can also slightly cheat the system and press a bit. It's not gonna work all over the drum set, but you want to get this sound. And it sounds rough even if we go 1, 2, 3. It's very unnatural, right? Because you need to move super fast with one limb, whereas the BPM maybe is super, super slow. So it's easier to go than it is to go at a slower tempo for the precision of the notes. Try a moment just with the right or with the left to see if you can play this rta sound. So conventionally, if we have a phlegm, what am I using? The highlighter. If we have a phlegm, can I write a note or not? We would have this, and instead for roughs, we write kind of like 2 small 16 notes with the accent. Also, I could have written bigger, but also you don't see the accents. Let me take it from here. Put it here. Wow. And try to do the same you did for the paradiddle before, no? Or even without, first just a few times on the right side, then you try to invert, stay on the left, and hypothetically, you can rough any note. These are called embellishments. They change the quality of the sound that you do, but you shouldn't add complexity when you play them in your mind. So you can even play pa, ra, re, do. Which is different than the, I think it's called dragadiddle, which you would take the accent of the paradiddle and double it in that one. Or I think it is. It is from today. But that would be a drag. Taking a note, say for example, if you go 1 E and 2 E and on paper, you would just, in that case, you would just write it with a slash, like this. Was it dragadiddle? See, I was correct. Somebody studied the rudiments a while ago, but so that you have something like this. You can just put a slash here to mean that you double in 2 lefts, right, right, left, right, left, left, right. So that's just a double. In that case, it becomes a 30-second note, as Marino was saying before. I don't see until there. Yeah, for the paradiddle, yeah. In that case, yeah. Maybe I should write to that as well. Natasha was helping me out with some images here of the rudiment I mentioned before, which is gonna be also in the ritual. And you have if you have a paradiddle and you do this little slash, then this one becomes a double right. Yeah. Alles klar? Fragen? Nice. In the rudimental ritual first page, you are going to suffer a lot. I find it okay. Later on, it becomes really tricky for some specific combinations, but roughs are really one of those rudiments that we need to struggle a bit at the beginning, but will help you so much for all the other techniques that you need for drumming. So once you master the first page, it gets more difficult, but you are actually better by then. So What we have on line number 2 is a lot of notes, as you probably noticed. But if you look, and it's going to appear in a second, if you look at line number 1, you can see that, the three-stroke rough. In that case, the software that wrote it has 2 small 8 notes to the quarter note. Conventionally, it's better to write it with 2 small 16s, as I did, with a little tie that goes to the main note. So this is just transcription stuff with softwares. And then we see that there are some feet going on. Can you see them? And those feet correspond to the Brazilian ostinato. Now, the rudimental ritual, for those of you that don't know, it's a beautiful, I think 11 pages long composition by Alan Dawson, that at Berkeley, at the very renowned music school in Boston, was teaching this to his students. Now, Alan Dawson, aside from having become then one of the greatest educators of all time, was also an incredible drummer. And then one of his students, John Ramsey, also a great drummer, published this book called, Publishing the Rudimental Ritual, with a lot of his explanations, as taught by Alan Dawson. So it was really about also the fact that you should be doing this every day. It's so much more fun than just going through separate rudiments without any purpose, right? So he combines it into cycles of 4 bars, a lot of 3/4, a lot of musical cycles, question answers, and we need to know it by heart. So we don't want to use the score. We just want to understand line by line how it connects together, rather than rushing into doing too many things, right? So here we have the 3-stroke rough. He was thinking of this with an ostinato with the feet, plus he was actually, if you saw the video at the beginning, doing it with brushes. That was Alan actually in the video. So that gets really fucked up. Oops. Hippie, where is the hippie now? I need to get confident with these voices. I don't even know where I put him. Yeah, here. Okay. Very good. Now, Brazilian ostinato that this time is played in quarter notes and 8 notes, rather than usually how we play it in 8 notes and 16s. But any ostinato can always be looked at in different subdivisions. Specifically here, we're gonna have 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Right? So we have right foot, left, right, right, left, right, right, because the rudimental ritual slow version is at 160 BPM, I guess. And the official one is beyond 200 BPM. So 16 notes would be way, way too fast, but we're gonna have the right person to talk about the Brazilian ostinato in a moment. In the meantime, if you notice there, it also says B, D, and H, H, simul after, which means because it goes so fast and there is also triplets with the hands and the feet keep on going in duplets, there is room for interpretation. We don't want to overanalyze all the polyrhythms that could be born. So there is a bit of fluctuation of these patterns through the whole composition, right? But mainly is this. Lessons, not always we're going to be able to put the ostinato directly, but that leaves you homework to do for the rest of the time to combine it with this as well. We notice from the score that we have 4 bars of 4/4 right side roughs and 4 bars left side roughs, which means on beat 4 bar 4 we exchange. Guy, let's try. Only hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Change left. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, change, left, bit faster. 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, change. Of course, we already tried some flames before. Make sure that you can do, anytime you want to attempt the roughs, that you can do it in phlegm format first, right? Questions? Okay, so then I guess for the second line you're going to have questions. Now, for the second line, we're going to go back to the roots of the motion again of full down tap up. Because in reality, this motion is extremely important that it's introduced in the second line in so many other situations. And you're going to see it in a moment what I mean. The writing is quite strange respect to how we usually write for drum notation, and later I will retranscribe it for you in a more intelligible way with all the silences. What really is, anyway, it's a 3/4 playing the first 2 notes out of 3. And even if you don't know what the 3/4 is, in simple words, it goes to simulate a phrase of 3 in a counting of 4. So we need to, first of all, put this pattern that moves through the bars where it actually was born, which is in the form of a triplet. The easier form of counting of 3, it wouldn't even be a triplet in the sense of 8 note triplets or 16 note triplets, but 3/4 notes in a 3/4 time signature. So we can vocalize 1, 2, 3. So now I'm going away from the scripture of the second line, but trust me, we're going to practice that. And well, tell me, are you talking about the feet? Or yeah. Then the bass drum is on the end of 2, and then we have another quarter note which is the 3, the hi-hat on the 4. Yes. Yes, good question, Merlin was saying. Of course, if I start from silence, I need to start to play my 2 left hand a little bit before the 1. The idea that we don't think about the rough is really that we don't think about it, but it's absolutely right that if we go to the computer, then this note, and I cut exactly on the 1, these 2 notes will be not hearable. Look at these nice questions. Very nice. Yes, yes, yes. Those 2 notes don't belong to the beat mathematically, but they do for our brain in order of execution, right? The main thinking is that. So then you would have, if you play with the ostinato, you would have this. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I changed after 2 bars, I think, but that's how it would sound when you put it together, which is already nice. Let's go into right hand up, left hand down, because also in the second one we will start with a rough, but we're not going to play it now. We're just going to really assimilate these motions, which is very unnatural. We play the right hand accent, the left doesn't play, and we go invert. Now the left hand will bounce back up with a full stroke. And the third counting is silent. And now we do the same, but left-handed. You don't see it yet like this on paper, but that's going to be the motion now. Ready, go. We invert, bounce, silence. 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 It's 2 accents, 2 full stroke. This one is a downstroke, but this one goes up, right? This motion here. And we do this because later we're going to have some notes to be played. Let's put a phlegm instead of the of the nothingness at the beginning. So we start with the normal flam inverting. Now it makes a bit more sense. We bounce back up and we still say silence. So we have 1, bounce, silence. 1, 2, silence. Flam with the inversion, bounce and shut up. And. Two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's confusing, right? It should be. If it's not, well done. But it's surprisingly more difficult than we think to keep that motion clean. Yeah? Just to put you in trouble, but also to show you how these things can come in handy in other musical situations. Let's go to paradiddles. Paradiddle, first kind with the accent on the first note. And you should know, and if you don't know, after today you will know, that a paradiddle is just one note away from a triplet. It has also the same properties of reversion. These are triplets, right? 1 and 2 and 3. And a paradiddle has an extra tap stroke, if you look at it this way, no? The motion is the same. If I do triplet of the first kind, I have down, up, tap, down, up, tap, down, up, tap, down, up, tap. If I do paradiddles of the first kind, I have waiting for the answer. Down, up, tap, tap. There's only that extra tap at the end, no? Down, up, tap, tap. Down, up, tap, tap. Down, up, tap, tap. And now I will ask you, before you even hear it from me, to play the first 2 notes accentuated of the paradiddle, both the 2 single strokes at the beginning. And trying to keep the motion correct. And you should recognize that you're gonna need that motion we talked about before. The thing is also here, at the very beginning of playing a paradiddle with the 2 accents, I could start, and I should probably start with both hands up, right? But in the repetition, in the loop of this sequence of paradiddles with the 2 accents, I have to play tap strokes also, either with one hand or the other, right? So let's start in this position like in the exercise that we're gonna need. And we invert without a flam, we just invert, bounce, tap, tap. 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 It's very nice to try this on the drums as well. The accents go to the floor tom, the tom. I just always find it very unnatural with the 2 accents. To do the motion correctly, right? If you destroy the motion, anything is okay. And not. Oops. Right, if you look at this, these 2 tap of the paradiddle are actually the ones that we're gonna push forward to become roughs. See how everything is connected. But the motion will still stay the same. So if you practice this version of the paradiddle, you're also gonna get, which is how this stuff will then sound like. Only in the paradiddle, everything is evenly spaced. And in this case, we take those 2 notes, those 2 tap strokes, and we push them as near as possible to the 2 accents in the repetition of this loop. Just a different perspective. Not that I knew it back in the days, but it's nice. Does it make sense? Kinda, sorta, yeah? So let's try to put the flames, and then we try with the roughs. We go back to the counting in 3. First, without any alteration. So we just go invert, bounce, silence, invert, bounce, silence, invert, bounce, silence. And then when you're ready, you put a flam, okay? Flam, bounce, silence, flam, bounce, silence, flam, bounce, silence. And when you're ready, you try with the rough. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think I will not stay here to retranscribe you those lines. I will do it later and send it over. But what we're gonna do instead is to change the counting. For today, it's important, hello Katie. It's important that even if you don't apply the rudiment, you try to understand how it kind of works musically, and then you practice it. So let's say we do 1 hand only, and instead of being 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, we're going to change the counting into, let's say, first 8th note of a triplet. 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. Easy, easy peasy, okay? Now we count instead in 8th note duplets. And we count in 3/4 time signature as the following: 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. But remember that your body will play note, note, silence, note, note, silence, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Play 1 and then and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. If you think about the 3/4 that most of you have practiced, we were playing the first out of 3 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and. This pattern adds an extra note to that. So take the triplet position. I think most of you have already played the 3/4, which means we're gonna move with motions in triplets, but we're gonna count conventionally in music 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. But now we're gonna count instead in 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, beginning 1 and 2 and 3. So we move 3 by 3, but we count for 4 time signature in this case. And if you, after the lesson, go to analyze what are the starting points of these accents, you will find that they are the same starting points of this second line of the rudimental ritual. So Step 1, make sure you know your 3/4, clave as we may call it. And then you will understand a little bit better how this works. Back to the one hand pattern and try to follow in 4/4 the complete sequence. I just played once, then you try to repeat. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. That's when it starts again. Bar 4 in this is exactly as bar 1, but Alan Dawson wrote 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and with a stop on 4, with the quarter note on 4. So it's a 4-bar phrase that goes like this: 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and quarter note beginning. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 left hand and 1 and 2 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 right hand and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and change and 1 and 2 and 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 stop. Did you manage to follow the notes? Even if you don't put roughs and everything else, what happens in this sequence is it's always inverting. Right, left, left, right. Right, left, left, right. Plus there are all these alterations. Okay, so let's do the same exercise. We always bounce back, but we play the accent starting with the right and with the left each time. Right? So in 3/4 would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and right, left, un, left, right. Right, left, un, left, right. This is the continuous motion that we need to acquire plus the extra notes, right? For today it's fine also without the extra notes, but if you manage, by all means, throw them inside because it will become right, left, rough left, This would be with the extra rudiment inside, right? But it takes a little bit of practice for you to set up, you know, the how high, when to bounce, when not to bounce. Now we always bounce back. We do the complete second line sequence, which you just, for now, trust me, but I will send you more information on why. It sounds like this: 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3. One more right and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4. Last bar and 2 and 3. Bounce back beginning. And 3 and 4 and 1 left, right and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you can sing it, you can play it. No, today doesn't really matter as much that you do perfect sticking, right? So we have 4 bars, roughs with the right, and you can do flams if you're not good with roughs, but please practice them. So it's 4 bars, and then we invert on bar number 4. We go 4 bars with the left, and then we go through this second line also twice, which will make it into another 8-bar pattern, in total 16 bars. Because we have 4 bars right hand with the roughs, 4 bars left hand, and then this complete sequence lasts for 4. We do it twice, and that would be 16. But who's counting? Okay, let's take a moment and let's go to rehearse it. All right, welcome to the rehearsal room. I'm gonna exchange position. And maybe we use some feet, but we don't have so much time. We'll see. Welcome, Natasha!
Hi!
Oh, you want to, you can keep on this.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Hello. Let me remove my glasses. How you all doing? Excited? Yeah? Cool. Okay, now we're rehearsal time. Let's try to play it together. Let's say, I think this tempo is fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. One with the left. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Again. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Solidified in your head, in your brain, at least the musicality? Yeah? Good. Should we go to proba? No, proba, no, to live.
Let's show them a little bit how it would sound with the feet.
Go ahead.
Just before we try to go on stage. Thank you, Natasha. Well done. This is a tricky part. Thrown in the cage of the lions. Here's with the feet part as well. At a bit higher tempo, how it would sound. Three. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This you can just repeat in loop like forever. It's a nice 16-bar phrase. Very good. Now try to have fun. Try to use only the right hand, only the left hand, both hands, unisons, flams. Try to follow this principle musically. We're just gonna conclude with a little live, but please practice it. Also for the students of Berlin Drum Experience, we're gonna open a new channel on Discord for the Rudimental Ritual, where we're gonna keep the discussion going, gonna send some videos, transcriptions, so we can keep practicing beyond the sessions. And if you are on YouTube, subscribe and like and drop a comment down below. Let's go live. Let's invite some people over. Not following the sequence, just have fun, but use the rudiments that we certified. And now mix it also with something else, no? I don't play so I don't confuse you. But I can entertain you. You can also go double time, huh? 3 and 4, and you can go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Also just like flam to roughs. Back to flams, right? Get creative to use them. Thank you very much, beautiful drummers. You've been amazing. I hope you enjoyed the first edition of the Rudimental Ritual, the PPRitual. It's gonna be a very nice adventure.
Thank you.
For the future episodes. Chain. And drop. Left. Second line. Beginning. Left. Second line. And left. Left. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.